Alright, we are back. I have ultimately decided that we are going to Footfall, and we're going to do so incognito. I think the the Interrogator made a pretty good case, which is, for the rest of our life, we're going to not be able to go incognito anywhere. This is the last opportunity before people know Theodora is dead for us to go anywhere quietly, so why not take advantage of that chance? So here we are in a new system. Oh, look, a new map. And Master Helmsman Ravor is telling us that he's getting reports of several ships moving towards us. Judging by the fact they are not responding to our hails and telemetry. Okay, and the telemetry shows a trail of macro batteries. They're not here for chinwag. Macro batteries, big batteries, big guns. These are naval weapons, so yeah. So they're already firing at us from very long range if he's showing a trail of macro batteries, unless I'm misinterpreting that. Ready to issue orders and prepare for battle at your command. So where do they come from? Could this be the work of Conrad? Like, I mean, I could ask him, but what does he, like, who knows? It's possible there could be some hired scum, or maybe it's just a pirate who saw the state of the ship and decided to push his luck. Where do they come from? The rubbish of Foribundus. Okay, so apparently there's a big debris field here, which we can kind of see on the map. In this area. Footfall is, I believe, after all, built out of asteroids and other detritus, so makes a degree of sense. So on my order, all stations get ready for void combat. I'm not sure what the Warhammer equivalent is of calling general quarters and ordering all hands to their battle stations, but I imagine we've got a nice little alarm future model standing across the ship. Let's go. Void combat. Let's have a look at what we're looking at. Okay, so we've loaded in. So we've got the Dropbear, which is a sword-class frigate, and it looks like 2 Cobra-class destroyers. Yeah, I'll look at that later. Okay, so the Dropbear, sword-class frigate. And yes, destroyers in this are smaller than frigates, or at least the Cobra is. So the Cobra is the smallest, one of the smallest warships in the Imperial roster. They are small little missile boats. Although, no, this is not a normal Cobra. This is not a normal Cobra. This might be the reconnaissance version of the Cobra, in which case it should have an array at the front, not these tubes. So the Cobra is a missile boat. You can see the torpedo tubes up the front, and naval torpedoes in Warhammer, no freaking joke. Like, compared to a lot of other sci-fi universes, you do not want to be anywhere near a Warhammer naval torpedo when that thing goes up. But these things don't have torps. They've got Thunderstrike macro cannons. Is this other one the same? Okay, that changed. Well, I don't want to move yet. That changes things. So we've got a multi-stage movement system. I think I saw a video of this before. And what have we got? Oh yeah, we're a sword. I did have access to other ships because I pre-ordered the game. However, I didn't load that before I started the game, so I only had access to the sword. But the sword's a good proven design, so we should be able to make it work. So what do we got? Mazoa. This is a lance weapon. Lance weapons are basically lasers, for want of a better word. So we're looking at long range, big hitting, but we want to open up the target shields before we send them in. I'm just going off assumptions here. Our forward facing torpedo tubes, we've got a Voss pattern, which I think it's 2 or 4 tubes from memory. And then we have dorsal and starboard and port macro cannons, with the dorsals having longer range, but them all doing the same damage. So what we need to do, We've got one off to starboard and one off to port. And what we want to do ideally is engage one at a time. So what I'm going to do, if I remember correctly, these will fly on their own after I launch them. So let's salvo the torpedoes straight away. There we are, plasma torpedoes. Fired torpedo salvo. Okay, and enemy ships can apparently attack them. That's fine. So the plasma torpedoes are now clear running until we get to control them after the Cobras go. So they're in the void. Torpedoes loose. Now we need to maneuver, and what we want to do is we want to be able to fire both of our forward facing, so our dorsal and our lance, and we want to get at least one of our macro cannon side batteries fired all at this ship in one turn, I think. Try and punch a hole in the void shields, probably the front facing ones, because void coverings in this are multi-facing. You have 4 different shield facings, but also end up far enough away from this Cobra that we have some freedom in how we choose to engage next turn. I'm going to do some movement calculation as with these arcs, and then I'm going to be back in a moment, because hooray, ship combat. Okay, so the correct move first, I think, is let's just get the dorsal weapons engaged, which means we're going to need to get I think it's basically up to here. Dorsals.
Leave their hull strewn across the stars.
Okay, her voids are down to 7. Blah blah blah. I can read that later. This now puts it in the lance category, so this will punch through the voids. Now, normally in the tabletop system, voids aren't counted as numbers. They're up or they're down, and you have a certain number of them. Here, I think we can punch through. Normally, you would want to knock down voids with macro cannons, whether that be big guided projectiles that might have nuclear warheads, or volleys of plasma fire, or lasers. There are all sorts of different macro batteries. It's a generic term for large-scale ship weapons. So we'll fire the lance. Fantastic. Okay, and this says changing course to disengage. I'll take that. So we'll then spin the Dropbear around.
Another salvo.
Great. And we'll start to then spin the ship around, I think.
The time has come.
We won't be able to fire our starboards, but it looks like this one's disengaging. We're going to want to destroy it. We've knocked down 2 void facings. This one's probably going to head over towards us, I imagine. Fantastic. So it's going to be engaging us. Yep. Okay, so some damage on the voids. No hull damage. And she's running. Okay. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, that's 1. Now, we're not going to be able to engage with starboards, but we might be able to use macros. And there's not much hull left on that thing, and I doubt it's going to be restarting its voids. Oh, we don't quite have an arc. That's okay. You're running, and you're giving me your voids.
Lay in the course.
But mate, I am going to be right up your backside on this one.
Macro cannons, volley.
Macros volley. Wasn't a great volley, but 80% chance on the lances. I make that a good hit.
No one can outmaneuver House Orcelio.
No one can maneuver House Orcelio indeed. 1500 XP for the warship. 4 ancient machinery, 32 scrap, and I don't think any damage went through to the hull. Good engagement. All hands secure from general quarters. Okay, so I've just dropped a save. I've checked. We're still at 134 of 134 hull integrity. We didn't, as far as I can tell, pick up any loot that can be used to upgrade the ship, but that went basically perfectly. So that torpedo volley was probably what really made the difference there. So knowing that ship, AIs tend to be aggressive in games, knowing that ship was probably going to come across to try and engage because it only had macros, it had no long-range options, having those torpedoes in the void, perfect. Now, Footfall is obviously the objective, so we're going to follow some RPG game logic and go to everywhere else along the way. Alta Templum Calixus Est 17, that is Pascal's station, and then there's a dead world here, and there's a ship over here called the Drusus Blessing. So let's just take a gander at each of these in turn before we make our way to Footfall. Lord Captain, station's airlocks have been sealed from the inside. No desire to communicate with the lady, refusing access. Alright, they don't want to talk to us. I don't know if that means I can click on them again and get something different, but, you know. Okay, I can't. So we'll go to see what this dead world is. Scan it. Okay, Z001. Alright, I'll take it. Doesn't seem like anything interesting there. And we don't have any extractums, which I'm guessing is how we pull resources out of planets. Let's talk to the Drusus Blessing. Drusus is an Imperial Saint, and quite a militant one, and very important in the Calixus sector. This is the Chartress Captain. So Chartrists, they are Imperial merchants. However, they are much less important than us, at least on an individual basis, even though they are much more numerous than the rogue traders. The way a Chartress Captain works, whereas a rogue trader can go basically, unless there's a condition written in their warrant, remember we have that giant document that's basically a letter from the Emperor saying we can do whatever the hell we want. That's basically what our authorization is. A Chartress Captain has a charter which calls on them to run a certain trade route, back and forth again and again, or a selection of routes. Different charters can have different requirements. And usually these ships, they often won't have navigators. They'll use their onboard cogitators to make many short warp jumps, which is much slower than having a navigator, and more limited if the route's not charted. But because they're running the same trade route again and again, they obviously know that route in and out, so unless there's some major warp shittery going on, it's actually reasonably safe. And there is an immense amount, a titanic amount of warp commerce that goes on in the Imperium. Like, a stupid amount to the point where it is difficult to explain why it logistically makes sense, but we are told in the universe it exists, and it's carried out by the Charterous captains. So I'm going to ask why the squadron is doing out here. Represented in the merchant fleet. Oh, but we don't have fixed charter-defined trade route. Okay, so his charter must be much more free-flowing, closer to that of a rogue trader, even if it doesn't allow him to do things we can do, like talk to and sanction Xenos, which I hope we get to at some point. Our mission is to establish business contacts with voidfarers in need of regular ship repairs, and those are interested in specialized goods. Okay, he's a trader. This is a trader. So I'll ask him some general questions. He's talking about how the fact that they run the trade routes for the most part in the Cronus Expanse, but that's a really dangerous job because there are no real established trade groups. I won't ask where he gets his components because that's a poke question. I'll have a look at his catalog of components. Okay, wait a minute. Okay. So he gives me ship components. Straight away I can buy 2. The Mark II 1B Auger Array, which is an upgrade which will give me greater targeting, and the Jovian Pattern Class 1 Drive, which will give me more speed. Although the existing one gives me 11 speed but strong acceleration and braking, and the Jovian Class 1 gives me 13 speed and low acceleration and braking. I wish I knew what low and high meant in this context. Also, I think that... Yeah, there we are. He takes ship debris. So there we are. We have 300 of 3500 reputation. At our next reputation level, we get ceramite plating, so that's 1 extra deflection for the ship, basically. And a void shield, which is the same as our current void shield, 80 on every facing, but doubled against kinetic attacks, like the macro batteries we just encountered. So not against lasers, plasma, lances, a whole bunch of Xenos weapons, like Gauss and pulsars and all the other shit that you can encounter in the void, but against good old-fashioned kinetic, that'd double our shield, our void capacity. So that sounds like a really cool thing. I'd love to go do more space combat so I can get these upgrades, but for the moment, let's just slap them on the ship. Void 201B, that seems like a straight upgrade in accuracy. Do I want the extra speed in exchange for less acceleration and braking? I'm actually not sure. I'm going to think about that. I think the answer is yes, but maneuverability in that combat was very, very important. And our speed was sufficient even to catch a Cobra, which should be one of the faster ships out there. Anyway, we'll drop a save, and we'll head to Footfall. Alright, so we're going to take a team down. Heinrichs has left the squad for the moment. I'm very sad. So, Abelard, you are back in. Adira, sit in a psi-proof cell or something for the moment, and try not to summon demons that eat half my crew while I am gone. Let us go to Footfall. Okay, so here we are on Footfall. This is like the big primary neutral, everyone comes here, port / scum of hive and villainy in the Cronus Expanse. Has deep space docking facilities, ship rights, you can purchase and trade just about anything here according to law. So yeah, it's not exactly as regimented as most Imperial worlds, let's put it that way, but it's something. They keep saying it's the only shipyard in the Cronus Expanse, but my understanding is that there are absolutely secret facilities with some capability belonging to the Imperial Navy or Explorators, but we'll go with what we're being told. This is the Legion's representative. Man, we got Abelard. We're going to get to be introduced. Your lordship, forgive me for not welcoming you with appropriate obeisance. We were told that you would prefer to arrive in Footfall incognito. I do. And so we are trying to attract as little attention as possible. I'm here on behalf of the Legion Footfall, Lord Vladimir Tokara. The Legion waits a chance to speak with you at his residence. Okay, so she can serve as our guide. Casper is saying this is so familiar. Behind the amber-coloured scattering of the words of welcome, far less appealing hues lurk, murky and diluted, the look of someone accustomed to lying and hiding their intentions. See, we don't need a Dero. Cassia could read people, but I did not need Cassia to understand that someone in this position, representing the leader of a place like this, is probably a little bit two-faced. Okay. What's the situation on Footfall? There are certain problems, but the Legion can acquaint with you better than I. Continue. Awareness succeeded. Behind her polite soft tone, you detect a slight hint of nervousness. As if she is reciting a reply she'd carefully prepared beforehand. Yeah, I expect she's mostly going to be giving us canned lines, to be honest. Like, it's going to be talking points and canned responses. That's just, like, going to be the job of someone in her position. You really should talk to the Legion about this. I'm just... She doesn't get a chance to say the rest. Oh, and she got shot in the back of the head. Okay. Alright, we are being shot at. Awesome. Well, I did level up my people before we landed, so let's go for it. Let's introduce the new Chapter 2 team, and possibly the last battle on this level of difficulty. So, if I know these sort of games, I expect a difficulty jump in Act 2. We're going to try it out. And if it doesn't deliver, we're going to hike the difficulty probably all the way up to maximum. Some of you looking at the Chaos Space Marine battle last episode said that it might have been bugged because the Chaos Space Marine didn't roll high enough initiative or didn't get a turn early on. So I redid the battle. Chaos Space Marine did get a turn before some of my team, but it didn't really make a difference. The fight was still a complete dumpster smash because as soon as Cassia gets turns, he just dies. So we'll have a go on the new settings. Or on the new chapter rather, and if it doesn't work, we will hike the difficulty up, because as much as dumpstering opponents is fun, I want to get a little bit challenging too. We are all now into our second archetypes. So, you have 3 classes in Rogue Trader. We've completed our first class. You pick your second class, and then you get Exemplar, which lets you go back and pick elements from both of the previous ones at level 36. So we've made our fateful choices. Perun is something called a Grand Strategist. Grand Strategist lets you designate areas of the field. It's basically the yelling person job. I love it. It is about yelling, but yelling strategically. You are the big boss. So we can designate, I'll show this in a moment, you can designate parts of the battlefield to give bonuses to friends in that area and negatives to enemies in that area. Plus, and here's the big one, Grand Strategists always go first. They always go first. So... And we're back. Sorry, how dare business try and intrude when I am trying to record a video game. Anyway, so Grand Strategists always go first. So what will now happen is Perun will get his Seize the Initiative, regardless of it, they can have 300,000 agility points, doesn't matter. Perun will get his Seize the Initiative turn, and then his full turn before anyone else. Except, of course, for Justa, whenever she's on the team, because she's also a Grand Strategist. So we should be able to stack 4 guaranteed turns up first that can give someone else additional turns. So we should be able to stack 6 turns minimum with just those 2 before anyone else goes. Add Cassia Seize the Initiative, you're up to 8. So not bad. We get 8 turns of varying value before anyone goes. So that's Grand Strategist. We'll talk about the rest of it as we go over. Cassia, however, Cassia is not a strategist, Cassia is a tactician. So the key thing about tacticians is a measurement of, what do you call it here? Tactical advantage. They get tactical advantage. They build up stacks by doing damage to people, I believe. Here we are. One stack of tactical advantage for every 5 momentum gained by a tactician or their allies, and they begin combat with an amount of tactical advantage stacks equal to their fell bonus, which for Cassia is 4. And basically what happens is you then can choose at various times. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that we'll get to eventually, but for now, you can then spend half of your your tactical advantage stacks. So you build them up, you build 10, 20 stacks, and then you can dump half of them to get plus 4% damage on your next attack for every stack that you have. So if you have 20 stacks of tactical advantage, you hit that button, you go down to 10 stacks of advantage, but you get plus 80% damage on your next attack. So when she's doing the big eye-opening nukes or held in my gaze or whatever, it's just a damage boost, and you know she needs damage boosts. Speaking of damage boosts, Argenta is now an Arch-Militant. Arch-Militants build up versatility. Versatility is built up by using different attack types. So if you alternate between single shot and burst attacks, which Argenta can, I believe an area shot is a third type of attack. So if we alternate between flamer area, bolter burst, single shot, every time you alternate, you get a versatility stack, and versatility stacks give you +5 weapon and ballistic skill for every stack. Then, if you have 4 or more stacks, they deal additional damage, which I believe is ballistic skill bonus divided by 2. Ballistic skill bonus. So, if she is at ballistic skill 100, which we can absolutely get Argenta to, it's a +5 damage per shot bonus, and as you can imagine, if we're looking at bursts, that can ramp up pretty quickly. Abelard. Abelard is a Vanguard. Vanguards are melee tanks. Like, that's it. He's a melee tank. He's going to get buff. He's going to introduce me and be buff. That's basically what he's doing. And finally, Pascal is a bounty hunter. Pascal, I was the least inspired for this class because he's mostly doing buff duty, but bounty hunters can mark individual targets, and if they then kill that target, there are a whole bunch of other things they can get later on. If they mark and then kill that target, they get bonuses. So if he marks and then destroys a strong target, he gets a stackable bonus, which in this case would be extra +25% temporary wounds, and then additional critical damage and critical hit chance until the end of combat, and he gets 3 charges per combat. So, that's the theory. Let's disperse and see how these new abilities work. Looks like we have 17 opponents. Oh, look at those hit points. Okay, so some of these are weak, but we got a boss with 115. Relatively talented, Air of Authority, although they are under Eye of Oblivion. D-stack. Oh, combat shotgun. Oh, it's still... I thought the combat shotgun might be burst fire, but instead it's 1822 damage, so it's a high damage rending shotgun. And she gets bonuses for targets within 3 cells, Air of Authority, Cut the Sinews, and Avenge Me. If the creature dies, its allies receive 1 additional attack per turn for 2 turns. Ugh, okay, so you don't want to kill it first. Alright, let me disperse, and let's try this out. Okay, and we're going to go with a rather unconventional pattern here. We're going to Starburst out, because Abelard is with us. So what we can do is go immediately give Abelard an extra turn, and he has Brace for Impact. His Brace for Impact has, however, been upgraded. So if I hit this button,
at your beck and call,
what he immediately does is give every other character within 3 cells of him an immediate extra turn. We love extra turns here. We are all about the extra turns, in which they have a number of movement points to actually move to their actual setting point. So we'll move Pascal out there, and what this is going to do is juice Cassia right up. But the basic plan here is Argenta's going to handle right flank. We could go Furious Recital, but we'll wait for the actual turn. Then we're back to Abelard, and Abelard's job is going to be to deal with these guys out this side. We really need to get him a new melee weapon, but for now this will do. There we are. So Abelard is now in contact. Juster can move to this position here.
Shall not fear.
Cassia already has... Yeah, Cassia's at 130 willpower with 13 stacks of Mastery of Time, and we haven't even started doing Seize the Initiative. So Cassia can probably be in cover facing this direction, flanked by these guys, but we're going to try and nuke these guys.
Be careful not to cross my gaze.
They are mooks. Faroon...
let's see how they respond to this.
Alright, now it is Perun's Grand Strategist turn. So we get to designate 3 areas. The frontline zone gives a bonus to allied armor and does 19% more damage to enemies in the area. So we can designate a front line that captures preferably as many of these as possible. That would be nice. So that's going to give Argenta a plus 19% damage boost to those targets there. The back line gives allies cover efficiency and dodge reduction. And the rear gives our guys ranged damage, over penetration, and critical hit chance. So we can stack that like here and then bring Juster up. I basically want Argenta to be in the zone. Although I kind of want Perun to be in the zone as well. He's got movement points, so I can designate maybe that.
Nothing I can't do.
And then finally there's the back line, which is cover efficiency, dodge, and dodge reduction. Now the zones I don't believe can't overlap, so we'll give that to Justa back here.
Suits my purposes.
Okay, that costs nothing. So let's get knocking out some targets. Perun can take shots, Perun can give turns. I think the person who's really going to need characteristics here is Argenta. We'll go Vok on Argenta,
Already done.
but we'll send the extra turn to Cassia.
All too easy.
Who is already getting pretty damaging on the nuke. Question is, do we buff her first? Do we buff her and Vok? I think it's more likely to make her a one-shot kill.
I am a navigator.
So let's get the extra
not
damage.
a servitor.
And then let's pick a target who wouldn't be immediately destroyed. I think this armored guy here can go.
If you insist, I die with grace.
Alright, so we're opening with 70 and we're almost at 200 willpower. Nice start. And how many we've got? We got 9 stacks attack advantage, so we can get a 40%-ish bonus on tap when we need it. Let's go back to Perun. Perun gets to take 1 shot. And I think it's Abelard over here needs the extra damage assistance. So we'll put some damage down there. Justa will also get to make a shot. I think we want the extra damage, probably.
Never wavered in the face of adversity.
And then we'll give Cassia the extra turn. So let's Vok Cassia, because she's going to be nuking. Bring it down. Cassia, if you would be so kind as to look disapprovingly at the local residents.
If only that were possible.
Oh, I can't actually click on the square I want. That is really... Actually, no, I can. I just didn't want to kill Abelard. He's a bro. High momentum. And we're up to 19 stacks of tactical advantage. So we're almost at an 80% boost on tap. Let's go straight into a Cassia murder spree.
Glory to my bloodline.
So Argenta can get the
Isn't
boost.
this a job for the serfs?
You know, might actually take the extra action points for taking these out. Sorry, Argenta, gonna steal your thunder.
The navigator's might.
Alright, we're still at 4 action points, as you can probably imagine. So what do we got? 10 targets. Oh, because there's another group up here. We can probably take care of that.
Tomes of military tactics.
We can.
If I may. Fury of powerful Celio.
Alright, so now we have 7 targets remaining. Let's
Isn't
look at
this
the
a job
boss.
for the serfs? I'm not accustomed to demands.
Okay, the boss is gone, and we are straight into high momentum. But we can't give the high momentum to ourselves. We're also at 39 stacks of tactical advantage. So a 160% damage buff for an attack if we need it, if we were really going to deal with a boss. Let's go into probably unlimited turns on Argenta,
Why navigators are feared.
because we want to kill this armored Anver. There's the other group. Found them. We can deal with that.
Guided by faith.
I think it's more important to take out the 4 thugs than it is to take out just the 1 dude. So let's get into a position that allows us to do so. And let's start racking up some versatility. Why is it such a low chance to hit them? Maybe we don't rack up. Let's go single shot first.
Faith without deeds is why I was
28
chosen.
damage. Let's then get an area attack.
Doubt is for the weak. You cannot escape their fate.
Beautiful. So that is now, I assume that's now versatility.
As the Emperor commands.
Cool. Alright. 2 targets left, right? 2 targets left. Let's Do we want the extra... Yeah, I'll
I'll
take the
do
extra
it.
ballistic skill. Just to make the hits easier to come by. Or do I want to pass the turns over to someone else who's closer? Like Abelard. Well, I can take this shot, that's easy.
As
We'll get the
Emperor
momentum.
commands, I act.
High momentum indeed. And then... let's bounce the turns to someone who can make the shot more
Justice
easily.
for the weak.
Here we are. Because Perun can now also use Finest Hour to give a full set of turns to Abelard.
Fear incarnate.
At your beck and call.
Reduced to dust.
I'm not sure if that counts as a turn 0 clear, but it was certainly all accomplished within the Grand Strategist turns. So yeah, I mean we'll get to a boss fight, but I think we might have to dial the difficulty up to maximum. But I'm loving the Grand Strategist build. That's very exciting, and we didn't even get to try. We didn't even get to see how obscene it will be with Cassia if she unleashes like a 200% damage bonus at the right time. Anyway, the Servant. Emperor, protect me. They killed the... Okay, so he's in shock because they killed the boss. Do you know who they were? Fear not, young man. Those guys were Anvers. They're a gang. They're the worst. I'm telling you, they're scared of no one. Okay, so there's a gang that doesn't care about the leadership of the station. That's pretty bold. Does this kind of thing happen often around here? Shooting, yes. Attacks on nobles, not very often. Unless it's the Anvers, they're vicious. Not a week goes by without them killing or gutting somebody. They're wicked if they're heretics, what are they allowed on the station for? You should have vented the... Okay. This is going to be another episode of Perun encounters incompetent local management and yells at them, isn't it? Go and report this to the Liege. Yes, I'm sorry, your lordship. I'll go report to the Liege. They killed her. They killed my lady. Oh, this is terrible. Yes, how terrible. I got experience, though. So I didn't loot anything particularly interesting. I also wish... I'm not sure how I feel about parking in this neighborhood and leaving the door open, so I kind of wish I could close that, but let's hope that's just a visual thing and no one's actually going to jack my Arbus while I'm, you know, running around what is clearly a pleasant neighborhood. Oh, look at this pro. Absolute pro. It's not palletized logistics, but, you know, it's honest work. I mean, I'm exploring this area. Absolutely love it. It's really cool so far. But I have to admit, some of the looting opportunities are a bit dark. I mean, I was just following the map to all the little goods locations that it says I can hack. Not hack, loot. Before I go talk to this little marker here, which I believe is a representative of Mechanicus. And one of them was just a dead dude who had a shotgun on him who was just dead in a corner, which is kind of interesting. There's also a little code puzzle that I found some clues for that I think I can answer, so just give me a second and we'll see what's inside. The lovely blood-stained shipping container. Sure enough, a little bit of running around did indeed yield the right code earlier. I just had to go to a bunch of places and there were numbers hidden in the environment and it gave me the code. I just don't think puzzles make for great viewing most of the time. Psycho footwear. Boots grant the wearer 2% dodge until the end of combat for each psi power they use. Stacks. If we get Heinrich's back, those are for him. Auto guns are shit. Interrogator goggles. +5 Law Xenos, 10% hit chance against Xenos. Interesting. Something we'll only wear if we're encountering Xenos, but Law Xenos is a good skill. And a multi-kick. Alright, so some loot and some experience. Not groundbreaking loot and experience. Ooh, but there's more loot left on the map, so let's grab that and then go talk to that Mechanicus dude.
None shall stand in my way.
And this loot's not actually loot, it's just yet more information. It's basically confirming what I already know. There's some propaganda around the place and reports that are basically telling me the Anvers gang are bad news and the governor should have dealt with them long ago, but apparently doesn't because I guess if local leadership weren't incompetent, we wouldn't be here to save the day now, would we? Let's have a go talk to Opticon 22. G'day. Alright, it's a tall hunch tech priest, breathing mask conceals his gaunt features, sickly grey hue. Okay, so if his skin is sickly grey, he may have gone through... Tech priests can go through a ritual / upgrade, which they can also give to ordinary people in the TTRPG. where you replace your blood with a artificial substance, which causes your skin to go grey, but it also can be a huge upgrade as well, just because, you know, they've made a better version of blood. That might be it, that might not be it. Just a thought. Random bit of fluff. Initiating identification procedure. This unit is Logis Opticon 22, fully authorized representative, structural part of the Cognizant Fleet, priesthood at the Adeptus Mechanicus. Alright, he's a diplomat. Initiating greeting procedures for esteemed high-value visitors. Glory success to House Valancius. Okay, so he's going thesaurus on me, giving me one or two words at points in his sentences. Requesting information exchange regarding contractual obligation, logistica theta. Oh, logistics, contracts. I'm in. Pascal and Opticon 22 exchange glances, and a short series of binary signals before they bow their head in satisfaction. What is logistica theta? Under the contractual obligation in question, 34.7, so 34 years ago, the Explorador fleet received representatives from the Von Valancius dynasty, who provided them a volume of high-grade promethium. Promethium is a fuel, equal to the fuel capacity of 6 Tantalian void tankers. That would be a shit ton of fuel. Abelard said, received it and then didn't pay. Compensate. Abelard sassing them. Received it and then didn't pay. Compensate, remunerate, settle accounts. Should I go on, or is that enough synonyms? Opticon 22. The stipulated payment from the Cognizance fleet can be made to the Von Valancius assets at the current time, after which the contractual obligation will be fulfilled and archived. Confirm your status regarding the acceptance of payment. You waited 30 years to pay up? Execution of payment is in accordance with the specifications of the contractual obligation. Allocation of assets from the holdings of the Cognizant fleet was initiated when the tankers reached the main squadron, 14.9 Terran cycles after the initial transaction. The asset allocation process concluded 2.6 Terran cycles later. Transportation of assets to the Feuerbundes system took 16.8 Terran cycles. Final delivery took 0.3 Terran cycles. Okay, Abelard, why are you sassing the dude? Did you read the bloody contract? Did you read the contract? Because what he's saying is they initiated payment after they got receipt, so payment on receipt is not unusual, and then because of the distance from which they were allocating the resources, it took like close to 17 years for the resources to get here. Presumably because they didn't expedite them on or anything. They didn't put them on like a sprint trader with a navigator. They probably slow-boated them on ships that they had already chartered and took their time. And if they did that, it's because it was in the bloody contract, Abelard, and you or someone under you didn't read the bloody thing. Okay? The Mechanicus, they read the contract. Abelard says, clever, if you had been purchasing fuel for a squadron at the other end of the Imperium, you may never have had to pay it all. We would have turned to dust before you made it. Read the contract, Abelard. Read the contract, and if there is nothing in the contract preventing the Mechanicus doing Mechanicus things, please add it. I have 20-something thousand crew on my ship. I assume we have at least one lawyer, or, you know, second-year law student. You are saying that my dynasty has an extensive business dealings with you. This statement is true. Cognizant Fleet concluded 1,292 contractual obligations with the Von Valancius dynasty, as represented by Theodora Von Valancius. Most substantial one was Pact 8 Yule. Okay, so they transferred an Archmagos to a planet called Kiava Gamma to serve as its senior Mechanicus figure. Interesting. Okay, so we apparently control the planet. They gave us senior technical personnel for it, and in exchange, that planet maintained Explorador fleet vessels. Cool. What payment can I expect? Universal Mobile Orbital Deployment Extractiums. Ooh. Yeah. That sounds like mining equipment, and mining equipment sounds like resources, and resources sound like money. So I can say I can either get reputation or I can take the payment. I'm going to take the payment. Mobile Extractium times 2. I was hoping for more than that. Because, oh, and I can get 3 more if I get to reputation. So, whoa, okay, we've expanded the reputation list. So I'm going to go through these items. There's some that I can pick up straight away, which is cool, because I can then turn them into cargoes, like deflection gloves. the wearer to parry melee attacks using their ranged weapon using ballistic skill instead of weapon skill. Okay, so if you have Argenta's gloves are busy, but if they didn't, and she was ever getting into melee, that would allow her to defend with her ballistic skill. But defense is for chumps. Like, initiative, turn economy, and offense is where it's at. So we'll get everything else. We need profit factor 35 to get these extractiums. In fact, we'll need more profit factor to get just about anything here. Alright, I'm going to go through this list and maybe do some trading. Side note, these stims are absolutely for boss fights. The user immediately gains 4 movement points and 4 action points. Next turn, their movement points and action points are reduced by -2. There is no next turn in our universe. There is only turn 0. and so if we can fit 4 extra action points into turn 0, that'll help. Oh, I want this. I need 30 profit factor, and to move up to reputation level 7, I'm at level 3 at the moment. Using reload for any weapon costs -1 AP to minimum 0. I want that for Argenta. I want that for Argenta so bad, so she can just dump rounds and keep dumping rounds. Especially if we can get her something fully automatic. I really want to find a heavy bolter or a heavy stubber or whatever large, heavy automatic weapon I can find. Give her that and just have her... Like, we might be able to get reloads down to, like, 0. Because she'll get her free rapid reload, which is 0. And then she's got -1 from rapid reload. For all other reloads, this would be -2. Anything that costs, like, 2 to reload? Nah, don't even worry about it. Or she at -2 from rapid... Either way, I think she's currently paying 1 AP to reload. Anyway, I want this thing. I want this portative manipulator. Everything else I can wait for. She also might want the combat manipulator if she just wants to burst or area a lot. Because whenever the wearer uses a non-attacking consumable... Oh, no, that's consumables. I don't want that. That's useless. I don't use consumables. I put consumables in cargo to get more reputation. Anyway, targeting visor axe, I'll have a look. Like, seriously, the Anvers propaganda? Here's some leaflets. Now is our time, not theirs. Go to their homes, drag them out of their beds, carve open their bodies like carcasses at a slaughterhouse. The Navy, Casbalica, Corda, Von Valancius, their names mean nothing now. Tomorrow we'll erase them from memory. Go and seize power and take as much as you can carry, ANV, which I'm assuming is Anvers. So, yeah, screw those guys. Cape. This makes me immune to grenade damage. I think it's useless. I'm probably going to cargo it, but for the moment we'll put it in Crematorium. Cool, we got to pass through these checkpoints without paying taxes or checks because we are important. And I will keep exploring because this place is full of interesting things. Pilgrim over here, all speaking to a crowd. All sorts of interesting machinery. Very cool place. So I'm in the atrium of Footfall, looking for the person that Argenta wanted us to meet because I think they're the Drusians, who I want to talk to. And I found some refugees. So what's going on here? Buzzing crowd has closed in on several harried-looking individuals, some of their faces smeared with fresh blood, angry cries, whose face leave no doubt a massacre is about to take place. Just cut their throats already, what were they thinking? Let that ship dock at Footfall, they're all stricken. No cutting, we get their blood on us, we'll be tainted too, better to burn them. What's going on here? Oh, we got some ecclesiarchy folks. Hey, this is the bloke Argenta wants us to talk to. Be quiet, you scoundrel. You dare pass judgment on others. What arrogance to think you have the right. Yeah, that's right. That's Reverend Hieronymus. I'm surprised he's decided to intervene in a street squabble. Watch in silence, intervene, or leave the square without getting involved. What's going on here? Oh, that's right. We're traveling incognito. A concerned citizen and an armed one. Yeah. Silence, you must be completely out of your minds. A band of woefully dim-witted reprobates who think themselves bringers of justice. Who are you to pass judgment on anyone? All you ought to be doing is suffering and repenting till the end of your days. And the instigator, he's basically saying the instigators don't kill the refugees. What's so wrong about that, Reverend? We just want to put these heretics to death. And the refugees are saying that they're not heretics, they're refugees. Where were the protectors that were meant to shield the lands of humanity from nightmares? Traitors and heretics, a lot of them. Interesting. Cassie is saying, how tiring. The motley sea of colours that fills this restless crowd is hard on the eyes. So many hues, but most of them are acid yellow streaks of fear. Red buds are swelling, ready to burst and paint all who are gathered here. So she's saying it's mostly they're mostly scared of the refugees, and that's manifesting as violence and hatred. Never heard that story before. All right, sorry, I'm back. All right, so I had to ask him what's going on. I've asked him for proof of what he's saying, and he's saying Kiava Gamma used to be a prosperous world. Family transported goods there from generations, and then they came, they butchered, tortured, and sacrificed entire blocks to the darkness. We were on our ship up in orbit, and all those messages started coming in. Half the wardens down there joined them straight away. They even reached us in our ship with some blight that made half our crew take their own lives. We barely escaped. We barely made it there. Why did this happen to us? Kiava Gamma is meant to be my planet, I'm pretty sure. And Abelard is saying, I wonder what this is all about. Is our planet really under attack, or did some devious opportunities send these slanderers here to... No, I don't think so, Abelard. I think something's going on. So now I need to save the lives of these people. Because, look, I'm worried about the blight thing, but I also want to interrogate them further about what they know. So I think I'll take the coercion option, probably. Let me think about this for a moment, and then go talk to the Drusians. Yeah, no, we'll use the coercion. Basically we're telling everyone to go back where they came from. And because we're a big, scary, well-armed group, I assume they'll do so. And Hieronymus will probably want to talk to us. Hopefully he approves. Cool. Where's Hieronymus? That'll be him. So I'll loot the area and then we'll go talk to the guy. Don't read into the fact that despite being like probably the richest person in this area at the moment, the first thing I do is open the map, check where all the loot is, and steal anything that isn't nailed down. But you know, if it's marked goods and a Magos can hack into it, it's clearly ours. Like, yeah, I'm sure that's written down. That's written down somewhere in the contract we have with Footfall. Let's go talk to the Drusians, because these guys, I think we want to be friends with, because they're a very militant arm of the Imperial Faith. They're related to Saint Drusus, who is a founding figure in the Calixus sector, major figure in the Calixus sector, which adjoins the Expanse, which we're currently in. Calixus is much more developed, still very much a frontier sector, and it's the setting of the Dark Heresy. At least when I played, it was the setting of the Dark Heresy TTRPG. So let's talk to Hieronymus. He just says the Emperor Protect, and he's wearing simple clothing. So, as I said, they're sort of they are more militant, more grounded. They're not so much golden chapels and luxury, at least compared to some of the other orders. They're very much rough and tumble, on the frontier types. The Emperor Protects Reverend. But he protects only those who are pure of heart. Do you think yourself one of them? Be leery of this conviction of yours. Many who have risen to the pinnacle of faith have fallen from it into the embrace of pride, most degenerate. You must be the young von Valancius. The name carries weight, and it is a burdensome one. Why do you know? I thought I was being quiet here. Will you seek to... Theodore encumbered it with many a transgression. I wonder, will you seek to shed them, or will you carry onwards, picking up along the way like ripe fruit? How do you know who I am? Actually, no, first I'm going to do this. Persuasion. Make the sign of the Holy Aquila. I put my faith in the Emperor. Hey, they added the symbol to the game. Yeah, you cross your hands. You cross your hands. That's the symbol of the Aquila. There we are. So I get experience and 3 dogmatic points for free. Well then, be twice as diligent, for this sector will seize any chance to test your faith. And then he greets Argenta. He's asking her about her pilgrimage. She says our ship was attacked by the archenemy. Oh, okay. Reverend Hieronymus, I wish to join the esteemed rogue traders crew and help protect the von Valancius dynasty from the forces of the arch-enemy. I am divesting myself of responsibility for guarding the Footfall reliquary. Sister Argenta stood by my side during the assault on the ship, and I could use her assistance going forward. Follow the call of your soul, sister. The Footfall reliquary will be preserved even without your contribution, as it was for all the years preceding your arrival. And he's basically saying, you seek combat, for it helps you forget how hollow and worthless our lives truly are. It offers the illusion of meaning. Perhaps you will relinquish this illusion one day, or perhaps you will die before that day comes. Regardless, I wish you luck on your new path. But before you start on your path towards a new destiny, I have a request. Ah, we're going to get a quest. Many among my flock are the poorest and most dispossessed on Footfall. They brought me troubling news from the shadow quarters in the darkest corners where the liege wardens do not venture. Tate has taken root. Okay, so he says true heresy serving the archenemy is a rarity on Footfall, but the cultists who dwell in the shadow quarters mark their abodes with the sun inscribed with blue and... Hey, it's our siege cultists! Let's go take care of that. Perform strange rituals and secrets. I wish to see retribution. I come across heresy I can't not do this line. I come across heresy surprisingly often these days. Indeed, dark times are upon us, and wretched souls grow ever more eager to embrace heresy, both on Footfall and elsewhere. There are whispers of wicked things taking place on Kiava Gamma. Great. And apparently there are problems in Winterscale's realm too. The Liege refused to accept them, and so they headed for Foulstone, a desolate cloister of the righteous. It was wise for them not to linger in this den of vileness. We will verify this rumour. And Argenta says, I almost wish for this rumour to be true. My heart yearns to battle some heretics. This is where I say goodbye to you, Sister Noble Perun. Is there more you wish to talk to me about? I'm going to ask him some questions about himself, and then I think we have to go do this quest. And I found out the reason he's here is he's basically a Drusian doing Drusian things. So he's he's looking after the flock, he's equipping those who want to go and operate on the fringes. Garments, items for explorers, and people who want to live a harsh frontier life, pushing the boundaries of the Imperium forward. So like I said, pretty grounded so far as some of these orders go. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have found some people we need to sell some stuff, because I've been going through the Drusians list, and there is some stuff we'll get for free, whatever. Okay. But, where is it? Here, this level. 1, Power Claymore for Abelard, which would be a great damage upgrade, armor penetration, and that Brutal Strike is an area of effect for 6 squares in front of him and the 2 to either side. That is massive. So, if Abelard's going to be dishing out hurt, that would be a huge upgrade. But there it is. It's a heavy bolter. It's a non-heretic only heavy bolter. Rate of fire 8, 6 to 9 damage, 20% armor penetration, 96 rounds in the magazine. What's not to like? Now it says single shot 2 AP, burst fire 3 AP, so it's going to be expensive to shoot. But, you know, I think we can work on that. I've got to find something that can reduce the burst cost down so that Argenta can do it on a bonus turn. But I think there are abilities that let us do that. I think there's a heavy weapon skill when I was browsing before. But 36 profit factor required. So we're going to need money. We're going to need money, bro. But we can get ourselves a heavy bolter. Then, further down, I haven't looked much past this point. Like, yes, heavy flamers, like melter guns, flamers, thunder hammer, 20 to 25 damage. But these are all very expensive in terms of profit factor. And all the way down the end, there's this carapace, which is light armor with 42% armor. 42% armor and no dodge penalty, with a bonus to hit chance, in melee and a 10% dodge against human enemies. And most enemies we fought have been human. But I want this. Dark Visionary Hood. Grants the wearer plus 10 bonus willpower and 15% damage to psychic and navigator powers, but inflicts minus 10 to weapon and ballistic. I don't care about weapon and ballistic skill on Cassia. This is a flat, actually it's more than 15% damage to her navigator powers. This is damage scaling, because she's going to get plus 10 willpower, and that's going to affect her all the time, plus 15% damage just on the top. This is insane. I want this. Dark Visionary Hood. So, we'll take all this stuff, because it's free. Onslaught, movement points by 6. Onslaught's a pretty mean substance in the universe. But let's dump some items on them. So what do you guys like? You like holy gifts, obviously. We'll give you holy gifts. You can have all my holy gifts. I already gave some away to the Mechanicus, but you can have all the ones I currently have. Cool. Alright, that's 1,500. And then you like jewellery. You can have jewellery. And uniforms and armor kit. So have some jewellery. And some uniforms. Mr. Holy Gift. And then I'm probably just going to dump a bunch of weaponry on you, because we have so much weaponry in storage. And I imagine it sort of fits your raison d'etre. So let me click on, I'm about to go click on a lot of armor kit and melee weaponry. I think I'm going to give these guys like all of my melee weaponry. Give me a moment. Okay, I also appear to have just rocked up at some sort of gathering. There's a bloke talking to me. He says, "Greetings, you must be Master Fidelio. All the guests who arrived, you're last on the list. We couldn't, well, start without you. Your presence is absolutely vital." Oh. So I only have two options. I can either out myself and not be incognito, or I can play along. I can't just say I'm some random person, you've got me confused with someone else. Well, I don't want to out myself. I guess I really feel like there should be a third option. I'm gonna play along. I'm Fidelio. The chaplain is about to begin. What is this tomfoolery? Awareness, look around. Gathering you found yourself seems refined and respectable at first glance. The decoration and attendees' clothes speak of wealth, and so does the location, which isn't far from the Liege's residence. Okay, and most of them have implants, military-looking personnel, a lot of concealed weapons. Okay, so there's some tough characters around the place, but we're tougher. Your appearance has attracted everyone's attention. I wonder who Fidelio is. No one's heard the name. All right, let's join the attendees. Hi everyone, I'm apparently Fidelio. Oh, there's a body. Okay. Clark talking, "Oh, what a terrible, sorrowful day. We pay our respects to the life and soul of Footfall Society, a loyal servant of the Imperium, a generous benefactor." This is a funeral. So someone called Master Bellardo is dead. So let us offer a prayer to the Emperor for the repose of Master Bellardo's soul. So we've just gone through a service. The chaplain says, "And here you all are, you vultures, let us offer a prayer then, but if you think the Emperor or the messengers of his will, in other words, myself, does not see into your vile souls, you are sorely mistaken." I wasn't referring to Master Fidelio, at least Dens himself wanted to see him at his funeral, but the rest, I know every one of you, and I would be astonished to discover anyone here who truly mourns this loss. So go ahead, pray for his soul, soon the flames will take him. A fitting end for a life like his, may the Emperor keep his soul. Alright, so we're at a funeral and a pretty charged one. Interestingly, take a good look at the deceased for Lore Imperium, then we'll ask Abelard. Okay, so he was clearly rich because he had good implants. Abelard, do you know him? Oh, okay, Abelard did know him. I would tell you all about this man, but the words I'd use would be improper for a funeral. This is Jerry Can Dens, known back in the day as one of the most notorious pirates in the Cronus Expanse. They nicknamed him Jerry Hand for his habit of having a jug or two of Promethium at hand. He did love burning things. Oh yes, he was a menace back then. How long was it? 60 years ago. I was serving my last days in the Navy when news came of his latest attack. So this is good evidence that Abelard is probably quite old. And even though he looks quite grizzled, he's probably had at least some Juvenat treatments to extend his lifespan. Humans with resources in the 40k universe can live a very long time. That was quite a time. The sight of Jerry Cam in a coffin would have been enough to make me dance quite literally by the throne. I could have danced the jig on the spot, but now I don't know. No more jumping into the warp right from under the cruiser's nose there, you old beast. Who would have thought I'd be at your funeral? This is very grand for a pirate's funeral. Is this normal around here? Interestingly. Oh, it looks like he turned over a new leaf in his later years because the Reverend's saying he gave a bunch of money to the temple. So I'm guessing he turned over a leaf and tried to repent later in life after making a whole bunch of money as a pirate. Cool. I'm going to talk to the other guests and try and figure out who on earth I'm meant to be. So I've talked to first mate Dagon, who's like, yeah mate, he's basically admitting they were pirates. He says they used to call me Torch, he's Jerry Can, I'm the Torch, those were the days. Okay, so Jerry Can would cover things in Promethium, and this bloke would cause incendiary incidents. How did Bellardo die? He went downhill fast. A year ago he was living it up. Then all of a sudden he was done. His old wounds had caught up with him, and he had plenty of those, both from the old days and recent ones. I must take my leave. Alright, let's talk to the others and see what we can find out. So I've been talking to this bloke called Caspellato. I was like, what do you know about? He's like, I'm Fidelio, I've heard about you. And I'm like, what have you heard about me? And he's like, just that you were very close with, forget, I didn't mean anything by it, just making conversation. So either he's, yeah, that might be a clue there. We haven't been introduced. So he's the only child of the grief. What did Bellardo die of? Age, debauchery, and old wounds. 12 years ago there was an assassination attempt. You don't seem particularly... I don't want to say... I'll say that. Because it was a conversation option. So I'm asking him why he's grieved. And he's basically saying his dad wouldn't be sad if he was dying. Son's feelings are complicated. I wasn't a good son, old Dens wasn't a good father, but I do miss him in my own way. He always seemed timeless to me, not just a bag of meat and ugly ambitions like the rest of us are. Alright, some self-awareness from the son. Cool. Should probably go talk to the chaplain. The very dodgy ceremony guests with the balaclavas. And obviously the chaplain and the most important person at the funeral, obviously, the administratum clerk. Oh, jackpot, jackpot. The chaplain is saying, surprising that, despite being Dens, that is to say Master Bellardo's closest associate and confessor, I've never heard of you, the man he chose to be his sole heir. We're pretending to be the sole heir. Ah, that's amazing. Hey, I need money. I think we're about to commit a little bit of inheritance fraud, I think is where this is going. I'm glad, of course, the inheritance didn't go to any of the vultures, but I'm curious why you... Oh, persuasion. I'll ask him about the other attendees. He's a Drusian. And he's basically telling me that all the other guests just have one ambition, to seize control of the estate. Fair enough. His son is a drunk and a weakling. His friend is a dim-witted brute with an incredibly bloated ego. His widow made off with the family yacht in the direction of the mall while his body was still warm with an entourage of 5 brawny, good-looking fellows. I'd like to believe he didn't choose you as his heir on a whim, Master Fidelio. At least you had the guts to come here into a nest of vipers. I respect that kind of audacity. Okay, how did you become friends with a pirate? There are plenty of heretic scum among the pirates in the Expanse, but Dens wasn't one of them. He was a true believer. Shared more of the Imperial's ideals than some of those stiff-necked officers. Alright. The ones he robbed were mostly types that no true subject of the Imperium would shed a tear over. Xenos and heretics. Not all of them, of course, but the Emperor will judge if Dens was a decent man. So he mostly, he robbed from the baddies, most of the time, sort of. And then burned them. On the matter of inheritance, when can I claim it? After the funeral. Thank you for speaking with me. I must go. So after the funeral, apparently I get an inheritance from an old pirate because I walked in and a bloke just assumed I was Fidelio. Right. They, could do with some better ID checks in this place. Alright, so I was just exploring and this clerk has come over and said, stuff to me. What's the matter? It's very difficult to buy football on my wages. Okay, so he's been getting a... This is a administrator who's been getting a side income. Set up a little, shall we say, enterprise. I replace the implants of the deceased with identical replicas and sell them to the right people when I have a shipment ready. I just prepared the newest batch of superb, unique implants of the highest quality, but I got careless. I used my first sick leave in 4 standard years, and it was on the very day that Master Bellardo passed away, and his family didn't have time to repair, and now my container full of goods, it's in the furnace, and if you don't help me, they're going to burn any minute. Okay. Alright. So you hid valuables in the Crematorium's furnace. I've been hiding there for 10 years now, quite successfully, I might add. Only the richest citizens can afford the services of the Crematorium, and sadly they don't die all that often. I usually sell the goods before the next body arrives, but I got unlucky this time. Interesting. So I can say, what do you need from me and what are you offering in return? Or I can say, I will help you on the following condition. You see, I am, most definitely, Master Fidelio. I'm afraid I've misplaced some of my documents. If you make me a copy of everything you can find in the archives that has my name on it, you'll get your contraband. Throne Preserve. You make it look like you're just having a look around. It's a lot easier. So that now we'll have all of our Fidelio ID documents. It's a lot easier for you to wander into a restricted area without arousing suspicion than me. Find the container in the far corner, get out and come back to me. I'll be waiting. Alright, I can do that. Because I was just exploring around here and then that triggered. So let's have Argenta disarm this. Loot whatever this is. Have a look at this. And then into the crematorium. Okay, I've just gone into the crematorium. Went to get the container and this is a trap. This is absolutely a trap. The engine is burning us alive.
Brace yourself, Abelard. You'll regret this.
So we are burning alive. I'm not sure how we get out. It looks like there's something on the ground here, but I can't click on it.
I tire of idleness. Let's move.
There we are. Everyone select, everyone down.
Pain and duty go hand in hand.
Okay, who are these guys? Cool. We fell right through the ceiling. Okay, he doesn't know who Fidelio is. Here for your help with the fire. Who are you? Okay, they're random tunnel dwellers who hang out here because there's heat coming off the furnace. Makes sense. How do I get out of here? Pull the big lever to open the doors by the busted pipe. After that, you just walk through the corridors. The fact that the incompetence of the crematorium's maintenance staff does not make their negligence any less egregious. I will register a complaint. Thank you, Pascal. I appreciate that. I must take my leave. Return and demand answers indeed. We're going to have words with that gentleman because I want my ID documents.
A new challenge for me?
I'm guessing he was put up to that by one of the other members of the other people who are competing for, who want to contest the will. And they want to take away my rightful inheritance for me, Fidelio. And I'm looking at the time and thinking this might be a good place to cut it. We've done some void combat, we've entered Footfall, we've met the Drusians, we've talked to the Explorators, we've played around a little bit with our second level classes, our Grand Strategists, Master Tacticians, etc. Enjoying the wonderful benefits that are first turn every turn. And we also maybe have started to get ourselves engaged with a little bit of casual inheritance fraud, but it is for the very good cause of trying to steal someone's entire inheritance so we can afford a heavy bolter for the Sister of Battle and a new hat for Cassia. Truly a noble cause, if ever there was one. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you again soon.